Alright, welcome back to another Art of War 3 replay. I'm your host, John Cena, and today we're going to be doing a clan 2v2 battle. I'm going to be the green Confederate player, and my ally, kinezul, is going to be the blue Confederate player. So let's go ahead and get into it. We got some early action happening around the battlefield. We can see on my end, I'm actually struggling a little bit with the scouting because red is producing units incredibly quickly. Just some brief context behind our opponents here. We're going to be facing off against two resistance players. One of them, the red player, is a rank 19 multi-time medalist from P.S.I.H.I, and the other player is a rank 18 medalist with multiple medals and an 80% win rate. So we're anticipating a very tough matchup here. Let's see how it pans out. If we can see that red is incredibly fast on the water. Not only did they take all the containers on the water, but they have been able to plant mines around my naval shipyard before I even get my first delta out. So I'm gonna have to give up the water on this battle. I've got a fortress here fighting these riflemen just to clean up this area. Originally it was to try and capture some resources. Kinezul getting a nice scout onto red. We can see red is already HQ3 and it's in production of some alligators. Kinezul is meanwhile upgrading to HQ4. I'm still upgrading to HQ3 at this point. There's 3 Caimans on the water. I've got a hammer to dish out some damage against the Caimans. If I can, I'm thinking about putting down a torpedo platform, but I don't know that I'll be able to put down one in time, given the rate at which my naval shipyard is going down, and my shipyard is going to get cleaned up. So at this point, considering that red is already in production of alligators, well, here's the first alligator. I tell kinezul to fall back with the delta. This is not looking good on my part. I've already got some heavy pressure coming onto me. I'm considering some of my buildings there lost, so I'm going to try to build away from the water. We've got a lot of open space in the back, and I'm going to try and take advantage of that. This gator is going to clean up one of my supply centers, so I'm going to be down to 4 supply centers. 6 supply centers. I had 7 originally, but one of them I've cleaned up. I'm going to go ahead and rebuild my supply center, so I'm back to 7 supply centers now. I just lost the construction yard, and now red is now firing onto one of my other supply centers. I'm actually trying to produce as many units as I can, but I'm trying to keep them away from the gators. I don't want to send them in individually to attack the gators. So I've got double assault vehicle factory at this point, and we can see that now red is trying to put damage onto my headquarters there. I'm going to go ahead and flag the headquarters. We can see that now my headquarters is starting to take a little bit of damage. These gators are eventually going to take out my headquarters if I don't do anything about it. And kinezul recommends that I build 1 tower. Originally, I thought he said to build lower, so I told him that I was moving my headquarters. Here comes a hawk from the red player, so it looks like red's going for a combination of aviation and a little bit of naval presence. Again, this is not looking good for me. I've got a Typhoon to provide a little bit of anti-air support, and I'm continuing to produce more units here as I upgrade my infrastructure. So my plan is to go for a full land build, while kinezul here is going for the full aviation build. Looks like he's got some Thors out, and those Thors are going to come in handy. He's also got an 8 supply center build, so a pretty strong economy to go with it as well. So you can see the first round of Thors coming up for kinezul. Let's see where these Thors are headed. Looks like they're headed for the yellow player's base. They're going to score a nice hit onto the yellow player's base, and also get a good scout onto red. We can see red's got 7 supply centers, and yellow has 7 supply centers as well. Both of them are very well developed in terms of their infrastructure and their armies. So again, this is a tough start for me. I'm trying to reproduce units as fast as possible, and I'm trying to tech up to HQ2. So I've got HQ2 out now. I'm going to lose the headquarters here in a little bit, and here come some hawks. They're going to snipe the headquarters. We see a full flight of hawks there, 8 hawks total, and they're going to score another hit onto my headquarters now. Now I'm under fire. I need to keep this headquarters alive, but it's going to be very difficult to come back. kinezul's brought a Vertex in and to put some fire on these hawks, and looks like the hawks are going to shoot down one of those Vertex. Vertex goes down. So my headquarters is in the process of being upgraded. it is on its way to level 3. So I've been able to rebuild so far, which is good, while I produce units for defense. But looks like these gators are continuing to force fire just to prevent me from rebuilding on that area. And look at this, we see JCP army moving across the battlefield from the yellow player. And this is not looking good for me. I need to get some heavy artillery out to defend. I've only got a handful of hammers and some typhoons, so my anti-air is pretty good right now. But I think a few torrents in the mix is going to help out tremendously. Vertex coming in from kinezul, they're going to snipe the Cayman there, and then they're going to retreat. So currently still in production of vehicles here. I've got a couple torrents out already. I'm trying to get a third one out right now. What's really nice about torrents is that if you set them in between buildings, you can use them for very nice defense. Here comes the Hawks and the JCP army. I'm going to lose a barracks there. Thor's coming in from kinezul. They're going to score a direct hit on the JCP army. Looks like Vertex coming in for kinezul. They're going to shoot down a Hawk there. We're taking some heavy fire here. Two more Thors come in, score another hit on the JCP army. And my torrents are doing some big force fire onto this JCP army. Now I'm going to move the hammers in. I wanted to wait until the JCP army came in as close as possible before moving my hammers in. I want to keep the hammers away from the gators at this point as much as possible. And so I'm pretty close to losing a supply center there. But I've got the torrents here to provide some heavy fire, and it is forcing yellow to move troops back if they want to minimize losses. So now I'm trying to move hammer tanks out into the center area just to give them more maneuverability. Again, the power from hammer tanks comes from their ability to maneuver rather than doing stationary fire. Here comes a couple albatross from the red player, and red's going to score a direct hit on the airfield. It's going to take out the airfield. kinezul is coming in though with the Thor, scores a direct hit on an airfield. One of those albatross gets shot down. A couple Hawks get shot down. kinezul doing a great job countering the air support from the red player. Meanwhile, in this process, I've been able to go for an upgrade. I'm building towards HQ4 now. kinezul is continuing to put pressure onto the red player. Red lost another airfield and an easier factory. This is going to set back the red player quite a bit in terms of production and being able to make jets and bombers. So continuing to make hammers. kinezul flags the map here and says that he tells me to attack point H, which is the red player's army, while he makes a push onto the yellow player's army. So some more Thors doing some more harassment while the Vertex take out the Hawks. So I'm moving my ground army now. Got a pretty decent ground army now at this point. Vertex dishing out some good damage. I'm going to move my hammers now into this JCP fog here. I don't have fire assaults to support at this time, but I think it should be okay considering that it's mostly vehicles against other vehicles. And now I've got this JCP cloud fog cornered, and they're dishing out some good damage against my hammers. But again, hammers are relatively easy to produce in mass, so we're doing okay here. We've taken out the chameleon, which is allowing kinezul to come in for Vertex support. kinezul is going to clean up that other chameleon, and now yellow is on the run. Yellow is going to retreat. We got 3 torrents, a lot of typhoons, and a handful of hammers to support here. Meanwhile, I've built some more factories, and I'm just continuing to produce more units. Something to note here is that those gators are cutting off reinforcements and dishing damage, so I'm going to have to deal with them eventually. Thor's coming in for kinezul. Let's see where they hit. They're going to take out an Avia factory, and looks like those Thors that kinezul sent were backup just in case. 2 more Thors are coming in. They're going to bomb a special vehicle factory, and red is continuing to just go relentlessly pressured by kinezul. Which is very nice. It comes in handy to have maxed out Thors. So meanwhile, my ground army is coming in, and kinezul tells me to press a ground assault onto yellow. kinezul is going to move his ground army as well. He's got a handful of Zeus tanks and a shield generator. I got some fire assaults and torrents coming in. Here come the torrents being deployed. One of my torrents got a little bit too close. The other 2 are going to deploy at a nice distance, and we're going to put down some heavy fire. A Hawk comes in to support, but he gets shot down by my typhoons. And now kinezul and I are moving a full ground army onto the yellow player. The tides have turned pretty quickly here. Now we're the ones putting the pressure onto the resistance players. And my hammers now are trying to move into the JCP fog to take out any Jaguar tanks and units that we can encounter. Kinezul tanks are moving a little bit slower. The Zeus tanks are not quite as maneuverable, and these houses are making it a little bit more challenging to deal with. Thors are coming in now, though. They score a direct hit on the center of the JCP fog, though, and going to dish out some good damage against Yellow's ground army. And Yellow's got a few tanks left in the mix, but is quickly losing ground here. My Torrents are dishing out some good damage against those Jaguars, and Yellow is going to retreat towards the red player's base. And now we're at the front entrance of the Yellow player's base here. Yellow's in trouble. They need reinforcements from their ally. Vertex coming in from kinezul to support. And we're starting to run out of steam a little bit here. We're still dishing out some good damage. kinezul still got a handful of Zeus tanks and the shield generator. My shield generator is trying to cover those Torrents, but it's going to run out of battery there. Meanwhile, Jaguar tanks are coming in, trying to dish out some more damage. I accidentally self-destructed one of my hammers there from the collateral damage. Here comes the fog moving in again. We see some rockets from a Grenadier coming in as well. And we see some more units starting to slowly stream in from the red and yellow players. I got a shield generator again, still covering some of the units there in the back. Thors are coming in for kinezul. Let's see what they hit. They're going to hit the factories, though. 2 special vehicle factories go down. Very nice hit from kinezul. kinezul is going to be able to escape that without losing any Thors. These Zeus tanks now are trying to slowly dish out more damage against yellow, but now Grenadiers are slowly starting to stream in now from both the red and yellow players. The resistance side desperately trying to defend the yellow player. We're trying to move in now to dish out some more damage. My Torrents have now moved a little bit closer, but now there's tons of Grenadiers just starting to stream out from the forest from the red player, while the yellow player's got a couple Dragonflies in the mix. Hawks come in to attempt to provide support, but again, I've got a ton of Typhoons in the area. Hawks are not a good idea at this point. And now kinezul is coming in with 2 more Thors. Let's see where they hit. Oh, and they score a direct hit on the airfield. They destroy a ton of Hawks and the airfield itself. Very nice hit from kinezul. I'm moving in some more reinforcements. Our initial ground assault, though, has lost steam, though. We're going to have to retreat here. So, more bombers coming in from kinezul. Let's see where these Thors are headed. And it looks like one of those Thors is going to go down. These Thors are going to score a direct hit onto the base there, but no buildings taken down. I tell kinezul to move the shield generator back. A little too late, though. It's going to get cleaned up by those Grenadiers. So at this point, I've actually cleaned up the 2 Agators that were in the water. So now I'm able to move my units to reinforce my main ground army more readily. And now I'm going for a more balanced mix of fire assaults with hammers and typhoons. Thor is coming in now. Let's see what kinezul hits. kinezul scores a huge hit on the infrastructure. A ton of supply centers go down. Nice hit from kinezul. And I'm going to score a nice hit on those Hawks. Those Hawks are going to have to peel back. I've got too many Typhoons in the area. So right now we've got control of the center of the map, which is looking good for us. Right now I'm just continuing to produce more units. I'm pretty much full of command points at this point. And we're going to see if we can move in onto the yellow player now. And it looks like yellow's got Porcupines, Jaguars, a ton of Grenadiers. Look at that. Red and yellow combined with their Grenadiers. Hawks coming in to try and support. Looks like a couple Mammoths in the mix there for heavy artillery. And we got a full-scale engagement unfolding here. Fire assaults, hammers, Zeus, shield, and typhoon. And we got Thors coming in from kinezul, headed straight for the red player's base. They're going to score a nice hit there. And we got Grenadiers continuing to rain fire onto the hammer tanks here. Hammer tanks are under the shield generator protection, though, so they're a little more sturdy than usual. So we got a fair amount of shield generators in the area, doing some nice coverage for the tanks while the tanks dish out the damage here. And Vertex are going to come in and support a little bit. These fire assaults are doing a good job at cleaning up these Grenadiers, but there's so many Grenadiers in the area. They're just continuing to flood the area. And we don't have enough fire assaults quite yet to break through. Vertex dishing out some nice damage though. We do have air superiority in the area. My Typhoons are preventing any Hawks from coming in to support, but we're losing the ground battle here. These Grenadiers are pushing back our troops here, so I'm going to flag part of the map here. We need to regroup, so I tell kinezul that we need to move back. So kinezul is going to move the Zeus tanks and the shield back while I try to reinforce. Again, I'm trying to mix in some more fire assaults. I'm going to turn on the shield generator here. Let's cover the units here. You see a handful of Grenadiers here trying to make a push onto our forces here, but they just don't have the firepower to push through, and they're going to go ahead and retreat. So kinezul is launching another attack. That is a ton of Thors headed straight for the red player's base. Let's see where they hit. Thors are coming in now, and they score a huge hit onto the red player's base. 2 factories go down and infrastructure as well. So red is continuing to struggle with just getting any kind of air support out to support. Meanwhile, we're moving our ground attack again onto the red and yellow players. It's Grenadiers in mass versus hammers and fire assaults. This time I've got a few more fire assaults than our last attack in the mix, and it is making a huge difference right now. These Grenadiers are just getting incinerated by the ground army. Porcupine's trying to provide that anti-infantry, but my hammers are doing a good job taking care of them. Zeus tanks from kinezul are providing that heavy armor support as well. Vertex coming in from kinezul. They're going to score a hit onto the Porcupine. There's 2 Hawks coming in. Oh, and that's a ton of damage on the Hawks. And these Hawks are just getting shredded by the Typhoons. No problem at all for my Typhoons. And now yellow is only down to a handful of Grenadiers. This is not looking good for the resistance side. Our armies are continuing to press onto the yellow player. Yellow and red desperately trying to defend the front entrance. We can see there's 4 barracks at the front of yellow's base, just trying to scream out Grenadiers en masse. kinezul launching another huge bombing hit onto the red player. Scores a huge hit on the red player, and red is going to self-destruct their headquarters, and it's good game for the resistance side. Alright, hope you all enjoyed this battle of kinezul and I defeating 2 very strong medalists. We will see you in the next battle.